All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. Once again, we're gonna continue work on this 92 Honda Civic hatch that I'm turning into a truck. What I'm gonna do in this episode is weld this rear sheet metal on, so let's get it. All right, guys, so before we jump into this part, I just want to thank today's sponsor, and that is, oh yeah, I don't have one, never mind. All right, I really like the way that turned out. I'm gonna give you guys a quick close-up. You probably just saw this, but this is looking really good. I just went ahead and took my flap disc and grinded this down to a flat, and then I just slowly rounded those edges to get that nice round look I was looking for. I think that looks great. I was a little worried it was gonna be a little square off, but now that it's welded and I got that nice radius ground into it, I really like the way that that looks. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld the other side together and the roof. Alrighty, guys, so as you just saw, I got all that grinded down and welded. Everything's looking beautiful. I got it all sanded out with some 80 grit, so it looks nice. What I wanna go ahead and do next is finish up welding a few bars on the floor. Once all this floor structure is where I want it to be, I'm gonna do a little bit of grinding, and then I'm gonna prep everything you see here for some epoxy primer. So before I start doing the actual floor pans that I have in all my side pieces, I want to get all this bare metal in epoxy so I don't have to worry about it rusting underneath that floor. So basically what I want to do is where all these welds are that are on the flat surface, these guys here, I want to grind all those down so when my floor sits flush. Also the top of these struts, I got to cut all these off because the floor sits just above these, so these are going to be in the way. And also I want to clean this floor, get it all vacuumed up, get all this wiring where it's got to go, and I want to get all this prepped, sanded out, and ready for some black or either gray epoxy. I'm not sure. I'm also gonna epoxy all of these pieces, basically gonna get all this stuff sealed up. So for a couple more bars, what I want to do is this rail here, this is gonna be the fascia board. I want to just put a couple bars down so that way when I put my metal panel, I have something to weld to and it won't be all floppy. Same in here, probably gonna do 1, 2 there, and perhaps maybe 1 down to here. What I'm thinking is, because I need to access this taillight and I want my panel to kind of come around and end here, I'm probably going to make this end piece one separate piece, so I may have to add a bar in here and something here, and I'll probably do a couple bolts so I can remove this, get in here, access my taillight, put it back on. It'll be all flush and it'll look great. All right, so I think that's enough talking here for a minute. I know there's been a lot of time lapse, a lot of talking, blah, blah, blah. That's how these videos go. I'm going to jump right into it. I want to get some work done on this thing. Hopefully by the end of this video, we'll have all this stuff welded out, all my bars, everything is in epoxy and ready for the floor. All right, so I went ahead and added a few uprights there and 1 in each corner, a couple in the middle here. This is just so that way when I put my sheet metal on, I have something to put spot welds on. So my sheet metal is gonna rest all up against this as I cut it out all around this for the sides. Bottom's good. I got all my extra braces in, a couple there. So next thing I gotta do is prep this thing for epoxy, but before I do that, what I think I'm gonna do is grab some paper and start making a few templates for the floor around these strut towers, because this is kind of a complex area I have here. So what I'm gonna do is just start mocking that up. Is the ribs, I have a rib flooring over there that I'm gonna use for the floor. Those ribs may not sit perfectly on these bars, so when I get this piece of metal in and get it all the way over, if there's no bar here in the middle to weld the floor to, I may have to add one or do some cross bracing or whatever I have to do, but I want to do that now before I get all this into epoxy. I'm going to go ahead and get some paper, start making my template around this, then I'll transfer that paper onto my flooring, and then I'll set it up here, get it all kind of cut out roughly, and then we'll see where we're at. So I went ahead and made my paper templates like I was talking about. Now I can transfer these onto the flooring, and once I get all these flooring pieces kind of where I want to go, then I'm probably going to mock up my front one, maybe do some sides, and then I'll do some epoxy like I was talking about. All right, so I went ahead and got my floor set in the back of this thing. I took a cutoff wheel to it and did some trimming. Now, what I got is a rough idea of where this is going to go. Obviously, it's not quite wide enough, but that's okay. What I planned on doing anyway was making these ends flat without the ribs. It'll kind of be flat and then ribbed on each end, and then the side panels will be flat. You won't even notice the transition when I'm done. So what I got to do next is take my template, transfer it over to some sheet steel, and get these plates all made, kind of where I had to trim it there. These panels are coming down. A lot of it's going to end up covering 90% of that. So if I have to make a little filler panel, no big deal. A lot of these bars are not in the right spot. What I'm talking about with these bars is, you notice how where this bar is, it's on the flat spot of the rib, the lower point, and that one kind of is. But if you look over here in this one, it's not. So this piece wouldn't sit flush because you're going to have the thickness of these ribs higher than this. So what I got to do is make some cross ones that go across, probably however far I decide apart, so that way I can put a plug weld on all these flat spots and it'll hold it flush down. Once it's all welded, this will be extremely strong, but I have to have something to weld too. So if I drill a hole through this and try welding it here with this, you know, 1/4 inch gap, I'm gonna have to do a 1/4 inch thick bead of weld, and it's just not the right way to do it. So I got some more bars to add in, no big deal. I'm probably not gonna show you guys that. I feel like majority of this has just been cutting bars and building structure and all that, which is okay content, but it's very repetitive. That's kind of why I've not been doing a ton of time lapses. I'm just kind of showing you guys the updates as I go. So I'm gonna go ahead, weld some more bars in, keep rolling on this floor, and when I touch back in with you guys, I'll have most of this part figured out, and then we're gonna go ahead and start prepping this thing for the epoxy. All right guys, we got this thing in the booth, and we're gonna get ready to spray some black 2-part epoxy. I'm letting my epoxy mix right now. It's got a 15-minute induction window. But in the meantime, I'm gonna give this a quick wipe down. Everything's masked off and ready. We're gonna shoot all this bare metal today and get this stuff all sealed up so we can keep the ball rolling. Alrighty guys, so as you just saw, we finally got this thing into epoxy, and that is a huge step in the right direction for this car. I want to give you guys a little bit better visual of everything that I did. I just added some crossbars as I explained in the last video, and I got everything welded up, prepped out, and epoxied. This is looking really good. All this is going to be underneath the floor. I really wanted it to be coated so we didn't have to worry about any flash rusting. This car is going to be upstate Vermont for most of its life, and we get a ton of moisture, salt, everything up here. So I don't want it to rust. I don't plan on driving it in the winter, but that doesn't mean that anything can happen around here. Just going to give you a quick walkthrough of what's going on here. Your window frame is done. I still have to weld in a lip for my glass to sit in, but we're going to do that in the next episode. Also, the next episode, what we're going to do, it's going to be huge progress. We're going to get the floor in here. We're going to get the side panels, the front fascia board in. We're going to get all that welded up. That's going to make a huge step in the right direction for this car, because once this bed is all welded and ready to go and I can epoxy the top side of all these panels, that means we can move into body work. And when this thing starts on the body work, that's really where the car is going to come together and start to look like something. The sooner I get this thing painted, the sooner we can add the wing. I have some rear bar. I have a whole bunch of cool stuff for this car in the making. But what I need to do is get this bed done so we can get it body worked. You know, this is a 1994 Civic hatch that was used as a race car for most of its life. Hence why it's got a decent cage in it. I haven't really showed you guys a whole lot of the car. I'm getting a ton of comments, people asking to show a little bit more. They want to see a lot more in the videos, and I know I've been doing some time-lapse stuff like that. I'm really new to all this. But this next video I plan on making is going to be a little bit longer, a little bit more detailed. I'm going to show you guys a little bit more of the process, so I hope you like that. But for now, guys, that's going to be the end of this video. I'm sorry it's taken 3 months to get this video out. Things have been busy, things are changing. Obviously, as you can see halfway through the video, the car was in one shop and it moved to another. That's okay. We're still going to be making good progress. She's in storage right now, but I plan on getting back to this thing really soon, and we're going to make some really good videos, so wait for that. You might notice my daily in the background. This is my 98 GSR. Maybe I'll make a video on that too. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see. But with that being said, guys, I really appreciate you guys following along for this cool build that I'm doing here. Please comment down below and let me know what you think. Drop a sub. Do all the likes, do all the YouTube stuff. This is all new to me, but I'm really enjoying making these videos, and I hope you guys are liking them. Once again, thank you all, and I'll see you on the next one.